G'day, Mark Upton from teamsportcoaching.com. I thought today might give a bit of an insight into how AFL clubs use technology and analysis software to look at their games, and particularly how this is then applied to designing game-based training and the principles that surround that. So in AFL, probably the most common used video analysis software is Sportscode. It's probably recognised as the best product in this area in the world, and it's got a lot of great features. One of them that's been out for a couple of releases is the ability to split screen multiple camera angles, if you like. So if we have a look at this still image, a screenshot of Sportscode in use, we see on the left hand image is a typical side-on camera shot that you'll see broadcast on telly. Everyone will be familiar with that angle. But on the right is a behind the goals vision that we receive now and have done for the last 3 years. And this is great footage because it gives us a view of what's going on off the ball. So obviously the footage on the left, we can see a player's about to handball to another player, but if we flick to the footage on the right, we can see what's going on off the ball. So the 34 other players that are on the field and involved in terms of their positioning, which is crucial, we can now analyse and look for patterns in. And what's good is in this software we can flick from one view to the other, so we can play it in full screen. You might have the side-on angle and then flick and just look at the behind the goals footage to see where players are positioning. So why is this important? Well, when it comes to conducting and designing your game-based training, it's really important to be able to manipulate the constraints and understand what manipulating constraints of the drill will do to the drill. So things like time and space, field size, number of players, perhaps the defensive formation and strategy, whether it's a man-on-man or a zone situation, enforcing rules like 3-second rules for moving the ball, certain areas on the ground that are worth more points, all these manipulating these constraints. So it's important that you understand how changing some of these affects the dynamics of the drill. Now, watching behind the goals footage gives you a good appreciation for what I call cause and effect, particularly in terms of player movement. So if an offensive player moves to a certain spot on the ground, what effect does that have for the decision making of the kicker, how other players are positioned, where they should run to, what spaces unfold. From a defensive point of view, if it's a zone and a certain zone player moves to a certain spot, what effect does that have on the play? So understanding these dynamics is really important for then designing and manipulating your game-based drills. Now, how does what we've just talked about apply to the local coach? Obviously most coaches aren't in the fortunate position that AFL coaches are in terms of having access to this sort of technology and video footage. But what I'd suggest you do, particularly for beginner coaches, young coaches, but really any, to be honest, is to try and get to as many AFL games or state league games as you can and sit up high in the grandstand, so you're getting this high overview of the game as it unfolds and seeing the dynamics of the movement patterns of players and how space is created, the cause and effect things of ball movement and where players move, so that you can then apply that to your game-based training. Because regardless of if you're coaching under 9s all the way up to senior players, is game-based training, manipulating constraints should be a part of your coaching. So having a good feel for this cause and effect and then understanding how you can manipulate your constraints is really going to be beneficial when it comes to your training activities, and of course that's where all the critical learning and teaching happens. So have a go at that. Good luck with it. Love to hear any thoughts at teamsportcoaching.com or email admin@teamsportcoaching.com. So good luck.